All right, so here we are with part two. I think I'm gonna title this like a get to know Jesus slash Isaac slash Q&A, something like that, because we're getting
Yeah.
a little bit more passionate over here. So we're gonna start this one off with a spicy question, somewhat mildly. Um, how do you? So there's a lifter asking, it's kind of weird that we're the ones answering. Like, how would you tell? I mean, we're all men. We all have morals and how to handle tough situations. How would you tell a coach that you don't think it's working out and that you might be looking elsewhere? Um, but I think this answer could probably relate to like any relationship, like literally
Yeah.
anything, like anything where you're with two people together working towards something. Maybe you have a teacher and they're teaching you, but you're not really kind of getting it, and you like need help, you need adjustment. Um, so we'll start off with you, Jesus. You know, so how can I phrase this in a way where you could answer what? A lot of lifters, like younger lifters, are kind of shy. Like maybe there's a problem. Ah, man, I fucking deal with this. I feel like now the group of kids that I got, the lifters I have, are really like straight up, and everybody communicates really well. Um, but sometimes you get younger lifters. They're like the they just don't tell you what's bothering them, and they just like,
They bounce with no
yeah,
notification.
not even that, but like they could be hitting PRs, they could be getting stronger, they could be
Hmm.
doing good, but like they just something ain't right. So they get frustrated. So what advice would you give to a lifter? um well, how do you know that a coach lifter relationship like isn't working out, and like maybe they should like go elsewhere?
Okay. I guess I can give like 3 pointers. So if it's not going the way you want it to be, I guess number one would obviously be no progress, right?
Yeah.
But to get to number one, you do have to put the time in. And something that I tell a lot of my guys is like, hey man, like you guys, we signed up for 4 weeks. Like I want you guys to know, like it's kind of hard to add 50 pounds to your squat in 4 weeks unless
Yeah.
you're just that guy. Um, so it's like you kind of have to. It's like a relationship. I think you worded it beautifully. It's like you have as a lifter and a coach, you have to like commit yourself to the process. And I think like 12 weeks is generally a good time, like a good time frame to see like, okay, this is gonna work, this is who I want to work with, and this is like not what I want, right? Because in 12 weeks, you can kind of start to develop like the first levels of a relationship with your lifter. You kind of get to understand like their mechanics, like their tendencies, like how they warm up. So it's like, is there any progress in those 12 weeks, right? And if there's not, okay, then that's kind of where I would recommend like your first option should be like talk to your coach, be like, hey man, like this is what I'm feeling. And like the overall of these first 3 points is just like honesty, right? It's just be honest. Like I promise you, like if you have any issues with us personally, like I can vouch for all of the flex coaches. Like we're very understandable guys. Like if you, for whatever reason, have any desire, just talk to us. Like we've been in those positions, right? Like we know the long duress of everything, So it's like just we're gonna understand. So I would say like progress over a time frame. Uh, Communication number two is really big, and I know that's something that I've had to work on personally as a coach, is because it's like having to devote myself to like developing these relationships and communication, and it's like as an individual, like I got my own stuff, so it's like I have to
Mhm.
be able to like handle like my personal, compartmentalize, separate that, and then
Yeah.
like devote myself to you guys, like to my lifters who are listening. So it's like communicate, and it's like some maybe. Like for example, like I'm sure the you guys who were messaging Isaac the day he got hurt, you guys might have been freaking out a little bit, but little did you guys know this man just had an accident happen, you know?
Yeah.
So communicate, so progress over time, like honesty and communication. And then I guess number three would just be like, what is the vibe and the flow of the relationship? Like, is your coach giving you um what is the word, like it's like criticism to build or like to
Constructive
develop.
criticism.
Yeah, is
Yeah.
he giving you constructive criticism or is he being a butthole?
Yeah.
Like is your coach like is he being like blunt and honest, but in a way to help benefit your lifting? right? I know that as a lifter, and I guess I'll share a little bit about myself. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm such a stickler with my standards that even when Joey gets on my butt a little bit, it does kind of like sting a little because in the back of my head,
Yeah.
I'm like, man, like I know I'm training to the standard, but it's like that's like as an athlete and as somebody who looks at the bigger picture, you have to be able to not necessarily like bend the knee, but like have that respect. So it's like if
Yeah.
Joey tells me I need to pause my bench longer, I might I might want to be like, I'm already doing it, but I know it's like no, this man wants nothing but the best for me, and
Yeah.
he's not gonna pull my chain and feed me some mumbo jumbo. No, no, he's telling me for a reason.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, as an athlete and as like someone with my type of, it's like okay, I'm gonna concede to what Joey's saying, and I'm gonna listen. But and I think those are just three pretty big
Yeah.
points. It's like progress over time, honesty and communication, and like just the overall vibe of the relationship.
Before I get to Isaac, I might change the question for Isaac because that was really good. But also another thing too is like using you and me as an example. So you brought us through the process of you know like you feel really confident with your bench, and I know this too sometimes. Like so a lifter will send me a lift and they'll be hyped about it, right? And then
Yeah.
I'll be like, I'm happy that you like got your PR or whatever, but one, you
Mhm.
overshot. Two, it wasn't to comp standards. So I'm just like shitting on them, right? But I'm
Yeah.
telling them what I need to tell them so they could do it in the meet. I
Yeah.
literally I can't I can't not tell you the truth. Like I would be, I'd be lying if I didn't. Like it would be bad. It's like you see, if you see something happen in a grocery store in the parking lot or whatever, and you don't do anything, you just like let the guy like beat up the little old lady and take her purse. Like you
Oh man.
suck, right? Like you have to do something. Like you got to do something. So so like I have to do that. I have to keep I have to keep you guys in line. That's literally all it is. But then over time you have a meet and we build something literally like impossible to do, and it just validates everything. It builds more trust, it builds more trust, builds more trust, and then it just solidifies everything, and then you know that you're on the right path, and all your thoughts and all the goals that we set out, they become real, you know what I mean? And that's like incredibly powerful. Now for you, Isaac, what are some of the things that you look for in a lifter, maybe like two or three things that let you know like okay, like this relationship's working out. I could definitely help this person, and like they're gonna be solid. Like for example, like what are a couple things that you would cut somebody for?
Dang. That's such a good answer for the other question too. I was like replaying
You
in
can
my
do that too.
head
You can
50
do that. We'll
times.
do that. You can do
Yeah.
that one too
No,
after. Yeah.
I'll just like mix them
Yeah.
together. But
Yeah.
honestly, like I mean, me and Joey have talked about this before. Is Joey is like at a different point of his coaching career, where like for me, like cutting people is like it's not really in the in the cards. Like I'm gonna be able to put up with a lot more because like it like my situation is just different than Joey's. Joey has like I mean he has all of us our coaches like to take care of his own lifters, his own life. Like he's got all of these other things, so he may not be able to deal with somebody who needs a little bit more like rug and tug growth, like be
Mhm.
there for you and build this companionship. So it's just going to be a little bit differently, but there isn't really anything that like I'm gonna like cut you for. I mean, obviously, restrictions
I
apply,
mean,
but
I mean, first, I
there,
mean, respect has got to be number one. If
yeah,
any lifter I find out is like not respecting the coach, I mean, I'll cut him. Like it's fine. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But yeah,
Also true. Joey
yeah,
will cut him.
yeah.
I won't cut you. Joey will cut you for me. But I would say like things that you can do to be a good athlete,
There you
and like
go.
this is also tying into like what you like if you're gonna drop your coach. Like these are things that you need to look at yourself and see if you are doing. Is one, it's gonna be communication. It's like the more and more like Joey talks about it, and the more and more I live in life, and the more and more I coach people, and the more and more I am an athlete and everything, communication is huge. And that doesn't mean, hey, blow me up with 5 minutes of audio telling me about how like, oh, my pre-workout fell on the ground. It's like, no, like I want to like communicate if something is wrong, communicate if you have a problem, stuff like that. another thing is application. Is if you're not applying yourself as an athlete, like, why are you here? Like
Yeah.
it, like you need to apply yourself to things that I'm telling you. And so like a good athlete is somebody who's gonna take my words and apply themselves. And I, like, if you don't get it the first 1, 2, 20 times, 20 is maybe a little bit, but like as long as you're applying yourself, like, and you're actually working on it, like, you can't. I'm not upset at that, and I'm happy with that. And then the last thing would be trust. You have to trust the things that I'm telling you are like gonna help you. And then also included in trust is keeping like a positive mindset. And so like the athletes that just really mesh well with me, like I have a certain athlete that comes to my mind. It's his third prep, and he's like the first prep we had, like, he was a mental mess. And this was like 8 months ago. Every week he's like, I feel so tired. Like, what is this? What is going on? Like, I feel trashed. And then the next week he hits a PR. And he's like, oh my gosh, whoa. And then and it's just like up and down, roller coaster. And I tell him all the time, like, hey, like, this is going to be hard, but just keep going. And now, like, this is his third prep now. And it's insane. And it's so cool to see these messages of like the self growth that he's had. And he's like, hey, I feel like a zombie right now, but this is absolutely okay. And I'm trusting that like what you're giving me is going to work. And like, that's the biggest thing. And I'll finish off. I know I talked for a little bit, but I'll finish off with something else that I also think is absolutely huge and underrated is the grass is not always greener on the other side, and is usually not.
Mm-hmm.
And I can promise you that. And so you have to self-reflect and look at yourself and think, is my situation really that bad? Is my coach not getting back to me within 2 hours really that bad? Am I going to get actually this service or like this something else from another coach? Or is this other coach just really good at making it look like he gives you this? And then when you actually go to them, it's like, oh, things aren't different. And now I regret my decision for what I did. And I should have just communicated. So I think that's another
I wanna talk to you after this off the air about something, because that was very awfully specific. Another thing too is that the lifter, they think they know they want something, but they don't even know. They don't know, and that's the hard part. Is like they don't know what to expect. You might be the best possible option for them to be a better powerlifter in the world, but they may not like that because they never really wanted that, but they didn't know that and they had to try it. You know what I mean? And like, let me tell you, brother. Last year, when we had to do like, it was like nationals, it was like worlds right after. We had like all these meets like back to back to back to back that we had to do. It's like, fuck, man, like you just get so burnt out. You're always lifting heavy, your body's aching, and it's like it could really like, it's just not a fun experience. I think the worst was when COVID kept pushing things, push, 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 push. So we were like, prep for this meet, oh, that got canceled. Oh, okay, 6 weeks later meet, oh, that got canceled. And then you're just like, it's just like, I was editing blocks like I've never edited blocks before. I was like, dude, this is crazy. But that's great answers by both of you guys.
I still remember that, man. We were like, oh, we're not
Jesus.
going. And then like 3 weeks out, we're going.
That was so frustrating. So next one,
nuts.
yeah, next one right here. There are a lot of questions, oddly, about, like, I had older people like asking if it was too late to start lifting, and then I had someone that was 25 say that it was too late to start lifting. And I think the question, really, it. So when people say, "Is it too late to start powerlifting?" I think it it depends on your expectations. Like, what are you trying to get? We'll start with Isaac. Isaac, if someone like what would you do if someone says like, "Hey man, like I want to get into powerlifting, but like I'm already like 26. Like, am I screwed?" Like, what does that kind of
Yeah.
tell you about what they're looking for, and you think that is there an age that's too old?
So first of all, I mean, obviously, they probably know this answer, and the answer is no. You're not too old, and like age at which you start lifting, like you can start lifting at 50. Like it doesn't matter. But I think a lot of people that ask this question are really like, it's not more so they're asking like, oh, unless like you said expectations. Like if you're expecting to be like a world champion in a year, like, yeah, you probably should have started earlier. But if you're just talking about lifting in general, like, no. And the reason I think they're like most people would ask this is because they're just looking for that click or like that confidence to get into the gym. And if they ask people, oh, like, am I too old? And then they're like, no, you can get started anytime. And then like they're like, oh, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna get started. And so like, I mean, I think it's just kind of like it's like a glass wall where like they're asking a question, but it's not really like, in my opinion, most of the times it's not really like they want the answer to that question. It's more so like either they're making an excuse to not do it, or they're trying to find a reason to start. And I think that, I mean, 20, 25, 26, like if you want to lift because it looks fun, or you've tried it in the past and it was fun, then quit asking that question and get in the gym.
What do you think, Jesus? Is it too late to start lifting? And what does that question, when someone's asking that, like, what are they kind of telling you?
Okay, so I think I'll answer like the first part. So it's like I think Isaac literally said everything you possibly could say. But for me personally, if somebody was literally looking me in the eye and they asked me that, my initial response is like, man, bro, like you must not like to put the work in, right? But no, I don't think it's too old at all. Like if you look at, for example, like I don't know how old Taylor was, Atwood when he popped in, but it's like he's like what, mid to early 30s, and he's just tearing it up, man. I know he's a little banged up right now, but he had that. What did he hit, like 832.5 right last year?
I'm trying to think if he is 30. Uh,
I'm pretty
2015
sure
was the
he's
first
30.
nationals.
I think he
2015,
started when
seven
he was
years ago. So
24.
so he's like
I think
23 or 24 exactly, which is like literally like when I started, and like I started so late, and I tell a lot of these guys. Well, Hazard, I'll let you finish your answer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm pretty sure Taylor. Let's say he started at 24, right? I'm pretty sure that man, that question never entered his mind.
Hmm.
Never. He dove into it and he never looked back, right? And I guess you, for example, it's like you started when you were 24, 23, right?
Yeah.
Not too far from 25. And what did you end up accomplishing, right?
Fuck.
Like
I
people so often forget. People so often forget that Joey Flex squatted 750. They don't even
yeah.
remember you for that. They don't. They just know that you're like the
Yeah.
the the Bill Bailey of the team, right?
Yeah.
So it's like no, the answer is no. It's just you gotta, but I do think Isaac hit it on the head of the nail, right? It's like they just want that affirmation. They want like it's like if you're going shopping with your boys, or if you're a lady and you're ask your friends like, oh my gosh, like I really like these shoes, but I don't know if they'll look good with me. You want someone to tell you, oh, you're gonna look good wearing those shoes
Yeah.
before you buy it,
Yeah.
right? And I think it's just that's pretty much what's going on when people are have that question in your head. Like they're waiting for someone to tell them, like, "Oh, you're gonna look good doing powerlifting," and I think Isaac really just said it really well.
There was a point in there that I wanted to build upon, but now I cannot remember. But I will just say that I think when people ask that question, they want to be like at the top, and
Yeah.
they feel like it's too late. And this is what I was gonna say. You're never gonna know if you don't try. You literally
Mhm.
cannot like you cannot know the answer to that unless you try. Um, you know, like I could go back right now and I could pull up Isaac's numbers when he first started with me, and and I don't know if Isaac believed when he first started that he would be able to lift, what he's lifted so far. You know what I mean? You literally, like I tell these kids, like I tell Weez, I'm like, dude, you're like 12 years old. Ashton was not doing what you were doing when he was your age. You know what I mean? Now, it's not like age is like, it's not like a linear thing. You can be young and hit that wall where you're going to have to work really hard. Um, Same thing as someone that does it later. I do think that if you start lifting like 16, 17, 18, I believe this is my theory, that you can start to develop um, like physiological changes that will make you a better lifter, that if you were to have started later in life, you won't have those adaptations. For example, your hip socket grows thicker and it grows more a better way to encompass your femur. Same thing with your shoulder joints. My vertebrae, my like spine bones, right, have grown like from 10 years ago. They look like a fist, like a nice cylinder. Now they have like a wedge at the top and the bottom to better support weight. Like your body will literally make you, better suited to what it is that you're trying to do.
Gosh.
If you're a
Can I?
if you're what happened?
Oh, I was just go ahead. I was just gonna say like I want to chime in after you're done.
No, just the like I would imagine if you're a basketball player or a soccer player, your bones are gonna be lighter and you're gonna be faster, because it's prioritizing being light, and things like that, and whereas like if a powerlifter gets a DEXA scan, like when me and Tina went, our bone density was like 200% normal person, right? Which is cool because we're just stressing the bones out. But yeah, go ahead, Isaac.
I was also just gonna say how you said like most of those people asking those questions are people that want to be at the top or want to be world champions, and it's like not to be the bearer of bad news, but like, is that a champion mindset? Like,
Yeah.
should I even start because I might be too old?
They
Like,
don't even know.
Do you think world champions are
They
like
don't even
thought
know.
that when they started? Like, not only that mindset, but like it like the longer you wait to do it, like if you think you're gonna have fun doing it, like I guarantee you, all of the people that are at the top, they don't just train strictly to train and be great world champions and just make money because there isn't any money. It's they also have fun with it. So like if you think that like you're gonna get to being a world champion and you're gonna have fun, then like why are you not lifting yet if you think it's gonna be fun?
I'm
Like
a,
what like
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. In some of the closest, most competitive, um, catalytic. I don't even know if that's a word. Like
big words?
matchups in powerlifting. Like there was powerlifting before this moment, and now there's powerlifting after this moment, right? Like a Brett versus Gibbs, or like Russ losing to Gibbs, and then let's rematch him the next year. We got no injuries, and we're like, can we get it back? You know what I mean? Like those moments, as a like I'm not the one lifting, but I am extremely emotionally invested, and I'm more stressed out probably than the lifter is sometimes. It's fucking uncomfortable. It's super uncomfortable, but I'm like I need it. And I don't. It's not fun. Like yeah, it's easy to just chill. Like off season, we don't have anything for 5 months or whatever. But like you do it for those moments where like it all comes down to this. Like everything you work for, we work so hard. We go through so much. It's been fucking years of training, right? Isaac, you're gonna get over your injury and you're gonna hit a lift and you're gonna get emotional as fuck because you're gonna be like, dude, I thought I was done. I thought I was done. I came back. You know what I mean? And like you might tell yourself like, nah, I'm gonna come back, but like there's a little bit of doubt, And then once you do it and you get over it, and then you compete and you erase everything and all the doubt and all the worry just leaves your body and you finally like make it real. It's just there's like that's why we do it. That's why we do it. Dang, should we do a part 3 real quick?
Yeah, we'll do part 3.
All right, we're running into part 3, boys. See you guys in the next one.